this is my latest show, which is called The Texture of Life and the Beauty of the World. And it truly is just very simply about that, the texture of life and the beauty of the world. So as we move through our days, they can be so difficult, they can be so beautiful, they can be so many things interwoven and surprising. They can be dull, you know, all these things, monotonous, like, oh, I'm doing this again, I'm going to work again, my alarm clock went off at the same time, I'm putting on my same sport coat. All of these things add to, you know, that daily texture of life, that daily happening, whether it's in the moment or in the hour, in the day, in the week, in the years. You know, it all adds up and it creates something. But within that, in the whole perspective, we have this beautiful world we live in. But the texture of life, I think, seems to show that daily stuff, the reminders that the world can be kind of difficult. But ultimately, like these days we're having right now, the experience of this beautiful autumn weather, which is so exquisite, the sky, trees, the temperature, everything. It's just the way you can breathe, the way you can see the mountains, the way the clouds appear, or the way that the clouds don't appear, you know, because the sky is so beautifully, deeply blue this time of year. So that's really what it is. So the body of work really represents that in the sense that some of the pieces are more textural, some of the pieces are, you know, I kind of designed it to be kind of black and white and then go into color. I hadn't embraced color for a while. I mean, I always do color, but it's been a while since I've really got back into it. So, and I really wanted with this exhibit to pull myself out of, when I was in graduate school, my thesis was on the structure of paint, so that paint could be a structure in and of itself, that it didn't have to rely on the two-dimensional form to exist. So so what I started doing was pouring paint and layering it, and layering it, and layering it, and stacking it. And this was like 1998 that I was doing this. And I kind of got stuck in that mode of art making. And I was doing it for so long, and people were intrigued by it. And I would have a piece up, and they're like, well, isn't this clay? And I'm like, no, it's paint. I just pour the paint, and then I apply it, I stack it, and then I started going back to the two-dimensional surface with it. And so I was kind of floating back and forth from the paint being much more sculptural to the painting on the two-dimensional surface. And with this exhibit, I really just wanted to celebrate painting and what I love about painting and what I know about painting, and to use color to kind of, oh, and the one thing, the expression of the beauty of the world. I was doing a bunch of these sketches, and they ended up just being sketches, and I sent Gundy one, and it ended up being on the postcard for the exhibit, which I ended up kind of not going down that road. It had much more of a narrative, like just a representational narrative, and I was working on it, and I kind of got it out of my system, and it didn't, the beauty of the world wasn't coming out. I was doing sketches of little rabbits and doves and like flora and fauna and clouds and all of these things, and it just didn't happen that way. And then I realized I want to do the beauty of the world with like kind of the vibration or the energy of color. And that's how the color kind of appeared. So, yeah, I guess that kind of explains this. So, but it does travel through, I'm not being that cohesive, but like abstract expressionism, minimalism, pattern and decoration, which are all, that's all the styles that, and the periods that I really embrace and love, and those expressions are very meaningful to me as an artist. So all of them are kind of represented here. And so I have a little ABX going on and some grid stuff going on, which is kind of the precursor to ABX, because it was the whole idea that the surface can be just a flat surface, and that you can expand kind of top to bottom, side to side, and have this grid, this kind of imaginary grid for the artist to work on this flat surface, rather than relying on perspective of foreground, middle ground, background. And that really shifted art in a big way. So there's that element, there's minimalism, and then there is my love of pattern and decoration, which was kind of funny. We had there was a young woman here at the opening who was interviewing all of us, and she said, "Your work seems like it could just go in any home, and it's very decorative." And I felt like she was trying to challenge me with that in a sense, but I was like, "Oh, good." I'm glad you're seeing that, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I want it to be decorative. I'm embracing that movement. And that is what came to me, but that was kind of my freedom piece. It's like an actor saying, I don't want to be typecast as a comedian, I want to do a dramatic role. And I didn't want to be typecast as someone that only does the textural layering and minimal pieces. I'm a painter, and I love painting. Yeah. And I love so many different types of painting and so many different movements in art. And so that was the piece that just allowed me to do it. Yeah. So it really came together where I knew it was going to be part of this exhibit was the black piece with the ivory band. Oh. And then I just kind of went from there and started rolling. And the big thing for me was I had my title, my title and my statement were there, but the work wasn't evolving quite yet. Like I'd done all these sketches, a ton of sketches, and I wasn't clicking with them. I was clicking with them as sketches, and they're very personal, and I love them. But I was like, I did this one of a rabbit, and I loved it. But I'm like, I don't think I can put a rabbit up in a gallery. People are going to get what I'm talking about after I've been doing this. Yeah. And it really, so I kind of just was rethinking, what the beauty of the world meant to me. And it's more a feeling, a vibration. So I thought, okay, I can do this with color. I can do it with that explosion. I can do it with the beauty of life being that I don't just have to paint that way. I can do it this way too. That's pretty nice, So just embracing freedom and